Every single day, we make choices that either accelerate aging or slow it down. And most people have no idea that one of the most powerful levers they can pull is not a new supplement, not a surgical procedure, and not even a workout plan. It's bacteria. Trillions of them live inside your gut, forming what scientists now call the second brain. But these aren't just passive residents. They are metabolic engineers, neurotransmitter factories, immune modulators, and energy regulators. And when you understand how they function, you unlock a biological toolkit for not just living longer, but living better, sharper, and more energized every single day. Let's start with what's actually happening inside your body. Your gut is home to around 100 trillion microorganisms, outnumbering your human cells. These microbes break down food, yes, but they do so much more. They create short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which reduce systemic inflammation, one of the key drivers of aging. They influence your mitochondrial function, the tiny energy factories in your cells, and they regulate gene expression through what are called epigenetic mechanisms. In short, your gut bacteria are constantly talking to your body, telling it how to function, how much energy to produce, how much fat to store, even how you feel emotionally. Now, here's where things get even more fascinating. There are specific strains of bacteria that are directly linked to longevity. One of them is called Akkermansia mucinifolia. People with higher levels of this bacteria tend to have better metabolic health, lower levels of inflammation, and even improved insulin sensitivity. Another powerful strain is Lactobacillus plantarum, which helps enhance the gut barrier, your body's frontline defense against toxins and pathogens. These bacteria are like elite soldiers, protecting your system, cleaning up inflammation, regulating hormones, and keeping energy levels stable. What goes deeper, your mitochondria, the energy centers in each cell, don't just rely on oxygen and nutrients. They also rely on biochemical signals from your microbiota. When your gut is populated with beneficial bacteria, those signals tell the mitochondria to ramp up ATP production, burn fat more efficiently, and reduce oxidative damage. That's not a metaphor. That's biochemistry. So when you feel sluggish, it might not be because you didn't sleep well or skipped a workout. It might be because your gut is overrun by inflammatory microbes that are actively disabling your body's energy production. Inflammation is the silent killer behind almost every chronic disease. Heart disease, neurodegeneration, diabetes, all are fueled by chronic inflammation. And guess what controls the inflammation switch? Your gut. If you feed the right bacteria through foods like fermented vegetables, fiber-rich plants, resistant starches, you produce more butyrate, more acetate, more propionate. These short-chain fatty acids signal the immune system to calm down, reduce cytokine storms, and maintain balance. But when you eat processed foods, sugar, and artificial additives, you feed the wrong microbes, the ones that thrive on chaos, that erode your gut lining, that leak toxins into your bloodstream and trigger systemic inflammation. So, how do you fix this? Start with consistency. Intermittent fasting, just 12 to 14 hours a day, helps reset the gut and triggers autophagy, your body's built-in cellular cleanup system. Add fermented foods like kimchi, kefir, and sauerkraut. Rotate prebiotic fibers like inulin, garlic, leeks, and artichokes. Cut back on refined carbs. Train your gut like you'd train a muscle, daily, deliberately, and with precision. Because when your gut thrives, you thrive. Energy becomes stable, mental clarity sharpens, hormones rebalance, and the aging process slows down from the inside out. If you want longevity, if you want to feel more alive, not just for the next month, but for the next few decades, don't just think about your workouts, your sleep, or your supplements. Think about your bacteria. They are your teammates in this journey, and when you treat them right, they return the favor with energy, vitality, and years added to your life. Your body is not just a single organism, it's a superorganism, a partnership between human cells and trillions of microorganisms, especially bacteria, living inside your gut. These bacteria outnumber your human cells, and what's more fascinating is that they carry 150 times more genetic material than you do. This matters because those microbial genes are actively influencing how your body digests food, produces energy, responds to stress, and even how quickly it ages. So when we talk about anti-aging strategies, it's no longer just about skincare, exercise, or hormone therapy. We need to start with the gut microbiome, because if your internal ecosystem is dysfunctional, your external appearance, energy levels, and lifespan will reflect that dysfunction. Inside your gut are thousands of species of bacteria, but not all of them are beneficial. Some accelerate inflammation and aging, while others slow it down. When you eat foods high in fiber, resistant starch, and polyphenols, like artichokes, garlic, and berries, you're feeding the beneficial microbes. These bacteria then produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which protect the gut lining, reduce inflammation, and even regulate the immune system. Butyrate is one of the most powerful molecules in the anti-aging equation. It supports the regeneration of the intestinal wall, helps in repairing DNA, and even supports brain health by crossing the blood-brain barrier and reducing neuroinflammation. The presence or absence of key bacterial strains can mean the difference between vibrant energy or chronic fatigue. Take Akkermansia muciniphila, for example. This bacteria feeds on the mucus layer of your intestines, strengthening it, which may sound counterintuitive, but in doing so, it thickens and regenerates the protective lining. When this bacteria is present in high amounts, studies show people have improved metabolic health, reduced inflammation, and lower body fat. When it's absent or low, the gut barrier weakens, leading to what's known as leaky gut, a condition linked to autoimmune issues, insulin resistance, and accelerated aging. And then there's mitochondrial health. Your mitochondria are responsible for producing ATP, your body's energy currency. What few people realize is that mitochondrial function is directly influenced by the signals they receive from your gut microbiota. Certain bacteria produce metabolites that tell mitochondria to create more energy, burn more fat, and reduce oxidative stress. This means if your gut microbiome is thriving, your mitochondria are performing at their peak. But if your gut is dominated by the wrong bacteria, you feel tired, foggy, and depleted, no matter how many hours you sleep or how healthy you eat. Mood, motivation, and cognitive performance are also downstream effects of microbiome health. Your gut produces over 90% of your body's serotonin, a key neurotransmitter involved in mood, memory, and learning. It also plays a role in melatonin production, the hormone responsible for regulating your sleep-wake cycles. If your gut health is compromised, your sleep becomes disrupted, your emotional resilience declines, and your cognitive sharpness fades. But when the right microbial species flourish, you experience enhanced mental clarity, better sleep quality, and emotional balance. And all of these factors play a huge role in biological aging. So how do you begin to train your gut to become a fountain of youth rather than a source of slow decline? It starts with consistent daily choices. Eat fermented foods like kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi. Include prebiotic-rich vegetables such as asparagus, onions, and leeks. Avoid processed foods that feed harmful bacteria and reduce diversity. Even regular fasting windows, 12 to 14 hours, allow your gut to clean itself and promote microbial balance. Movement helps too. Exercise has been shown to increase microbial diversity, particularly the beneficial strains. This isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about shifting the momentum of your internal biology. By taking control of your gut microbiome, you're influencing not just digestion, but your entire physiology, your energy, your brain, your immune system, and your rate of aging. The truth is, if you want to live longer and feel stronger, it's time to stop seeing your gut as just part of your body. It is your body's control center for longevity. Treat it with precision and it will return the favor with vibrancy, clarity, and decades of high performance living. There's a paradigm shift happening in science. For decades, we believed that aging was simply a byproduct of time, an irreversible process that we had little control over. But now we understand that aging is influenced, even regulated by internal biological systems that can be optimized. And one of the most powerful yet overlooked systems is the gut microbiome. This vast ecosystem of bacteria, viruses, and fungi that reside primarily in your intestines isn't just helping digest food, it's commanding critical functions like energy production, inflammation control, immune response, and even how your genes express themselves over time. Let's begin with the connection between gut health and energy. Fatigue isn't just about sleep deprivation or overexertion. It often stems from poor mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are the energy generators of your cells, and they require constant signaling from your gut bacteria to operate efficiently. Beneficial bacteria release specific metabolites, short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, acetate, and propia. These molecules promote mitochondrial biogenesis, meaning your body actually creates more energy-producing engines. But when your gut is overwhelmed by sugar, processed foods, and low-fiber meals, harmful bacteria crowd out the beneficial ones, suppressing these signals and reducing your energy output at the cellular level. Next comes the role of inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation, often called inflammaging, is a hallmark of biological aging. It slowly corrodes tissue, impairs organs, and accelerates degenerative processes like arthritis, cognitive decline, and cardiovascular disease. And again, your gut is the command center. When harmful microbes dominate, they create endotoxins, particularly lipopolysaccharides, LPS, which breach the gut lining and leak into the bloodstream. This activates the immune system, creating a constant state of low-level inflammation. But when your gut is populated with diverse, fiber-loving microbes, they form a protective barrier, produce anti-inflammatory compounds, and actively communicate with immune cells to maintain balance. Simply put, a healthy gut turns off the chronic fire that burns through your youth. Another underappreciated function of the gut microbiome is its impact on hormone regulation. As we age, hormonal balance becomes increasingly important. Testosterone, estrogen, growth hormone, and cortisol all affect metabolism, sleep, muscle retention, and emotional resilience. But here's the kicker. Certain gut bacteria are responsible for metabolizing and recycling hormones. For example, a group of microbes known as the estrobolome helps break down and regulate estrogen levels. And an imbalance in this microbial population can lead to estrogen dominance or deficiency, affecting everything from body fat storage to mood. Additionally, some strains stimulate the production of dopamine and GABA, neurotransmitters that help you stay calm, motivated, and focused. These aren't just psychological effects, they're deeply biological, tied directly to how fast or slow your body ages. So the question becomes, how do you cultivate this anti-aging microbiome? The answer lies not in one miracle food or supplement, but in building a lifestyle that consistently supports microbial diversity and resilience. Start with what you feed them. Fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut introduce beneficial bacteria directly. Prebiotics, fibers found in garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, and bananas, serve as food for those bacteria. Incorporate resistant starches like cooled rice or potatoes, which reach the colon undigested and fuel butyrate-producing microbes. Reduce intake of processed foods, seed oils, and refined sugars, all of which encourage the growth of inflammatory microbes. Hydrate well, move daily. Even your circadian rhythm plays a role. Gut bacteria follow a daily cycle just like you do, and irregular sleep disrupts their rhythm and function. Ultimately, the pursuit of longevity is not about defying time, it's about working in sync with your biology. The gut is your foundational system. When it thrives, everything else falls into place. Your brain works better, your energy levels stabilize, your mood lifts, your skin glows, and your risk for chronic disease plummets. Aging is no longer just about counting years, it's about maintaining performance. And the most powerful performance-enhancing strategy? Begin with your microbiome. Train it, nourish it, protect it every day, because what's living inside you is either aging you or extending your life. The choice is yours. We often think of longevity as something locked in our genes, a matter of fate. But the truth emerging from cutting-edge science tells a different story. While genetics play a role, your internal environment, especially the condition of your gut microbiome, is the real driver of how fast or slow you age. These trillions of bacteria inside your intestines don't just digest food, they influence gene expression, impact energy metabolism, regulate immune responses, and even affect your brain. And the most promising discovery? You can influence them, starting today. Let's look at energy. Most people associate energy with caffeine or rest. But cellular energy begins at the level of your mitochondria, tiny engines inside each cell. These mitochondria respond to signals from your gut bacteria. Certain strains, especially butyrate-producing bacteria, send instructions that increase mitochondrial efficiency, boost ATP production, and reduce oxidative stress. So when your gut is populated by diverse and beneficial microbes, you literally become more energized. But when your microbiome is imbalanced, too much sugar, too little fiber, not enough microbial diversity, your mitochondria operate at suboptimal levels. You feel tired, sluggish, and mentally foggy, not because you're lazy, but because your cellular machinery is underperforming. Now consider inflammation the hidden driver of aging. Chronic low-grade inflammation is like a silent saboteur. It wears down your blood vessels, accelerates brain aging, and increases your risk of nearly every age disease, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's. And where does a major part of this inflammation begin? The gut. A leaky or weakened gut lining allows toxins, especially endotoxins like lipopolysaccharides, LPS, to enter your bloodstream. Your immune system reacts as if you're under constant attack. That keeps your body in a hyperactive stress state. However, when your gut bacteria are producing sufficient short-chain fatty acids like butyrate and propionate, they reinforce the gut lining and reduce the inflammatory response. The result? Lower inflammation, improved immune balance, and a biological environment that promotes repair and longevity. Your gut also plays a key role in how well you sleep, how stable your mood is, and how clearly you think. There's a deep and constant conversation happening between your gut and your brain through the vagus nerve, a system called the gut-brain axis. Over 90% of your serotonin is made in the gut. Melatonin, your body's sleep hormone, is regulated in part by your microbiota. Dopamine and GABA, neurotransmitters that affect focus, motivation, and stress resilience, are also influenced by gut bacteria. When your gut is out of balance, sleep becomes fragmented, anxiety increases, and cognitive clarity declines. But when you cultivate the right bacteria, you stabilize your circadian rhythms and boost mood and brain performance naturally without needing external stimulants or sedatives. So how do you put this science into action? Start with simple strategic habits. Feed your gut the right inputs. This includes fermented foods like kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut to introduce healthy bacteria. Use prebiotic-rich vegetables, leeks, onions, garlic, asparagus, and green bananas to feed the good microbes already there. Include resistant starches like cooked and cooled potatoes or rice, which nourish butyrate-producing bacteria. Avoid ultra-processed foods, artificial sweeteners, and seed oils that fuel inflammatory strains. Consider time-restricted eating, 12 to 14 hours of daily fasting, not just for metabolic benefits, but also to allow your gut time to rest and repair. Add movement to your day. Exercise has been shown to increase microbial diversity, particularly the species linked to better metabolic health. All of these small daily actions compound. Think of your gut as a garden. You're either feeding weeds or nurturing flowers. The right choices promote growth of microbial species that produce life-extending, energy-enhancing compounds. The wrong choices feed bacteria that inflame your system and accelerate aging. Longevity isn't about chasing one secret, it's about mastering a system. And the gut microbiome is one of the most modifiable, powerful systems in your entire body. When you take care of it, it pays you back with clarity, strength, energy, and years added to your lifespan, and even more importantly, to your health span. When we talk about aging, we often focus on what we can see. Wrinkles, gray hair, slower movement, but real aging begins deep within the body, often silently in the invisible structures that regulate our health, energy, and cellular function. One of the most crucial of these systems is the gut microbiome, a vast ecosystem of bacteria, fungi, and viruses that lives primarily in your intestines. These microbes are not passive passengers. They are active regulators of your health. They impact your metabolism, your immune system, your hormones, your brain, and even your biological aging clock. And the key point is this: you can change them, influence them, and reprogram them, starting right now. Let's begin with cellular energy. Every cell in your body is powered by mitochondria, tiny structures responsible for creating ATP, your body's energy molecule. These mitochondria don't function in isolation. They respond to chemical signals from the gut. Beneficial microbes, especially those that produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, send messages to mitochondria that improve their efficiency, reduce oxidative stress, and promote the creation of new, healthy mitochondria. When your gut microbiome is optimized, your mitochondria thrive, and you feel it as clean, steady, sustained energy throughout your day. But when your gut is populated by inflammatory bacteria due to poor diet or lifestyle choices, that energy system collapses. You feel tired, mentally foggy, and physically weak, not because you're aging, but because the engines of your cells are underpowered. Now look at inflammation, the root of nearly every chronic disease and a major accelerant of aging. This is not the type of inflammation you can see or feel immediately, like swelling from an injury. This is systemic, low-grade inflammation that simmers quietly in the background, wearing down tissues, accelerating cellular damage, and aging your organs. The gut plays a central role here. When the microbiome is balanced, it produces anti-inflammatory compounds that protect the lining of the gut and prevent toxins from leaking into the bloodstream. But when the wrong bacteria dominate, they damage the intestinal barrier, allowing molecules like LPS, lipopolysaccharides, to pass into circulation. The immune system sees this as a threat and goes on high alert. That response, repeated day after day, year after year, slowly but steadily drives aging from within. Next, consider your brain and mood. Most people don't realize that over 90% of the body's serotonin, a key mood regulating neurotransmitter, is made in the gut. Your gut bacteria also influence dopamine, GABA, and melatonin levels. This means that when your microbiome is healthy, you sleep better, manage stress more effectively, and experience greater clarity, motivation, and emotional balance. It also means that depression, anxiety, insomnia, and brain fog are often downstream symptoms of gut imbalance. In fact, researchers now refer to psychobiotics, specific bacterial strains that have been shown to improve mental health. So if you're struggling with motivation or focus as you age, the solution may not be in your mind, but in your gut. Your hormones are another critical area influenced by the microbiome. As you age, levels of hormones like testosterone, estrogen, and growth hormone naturally decline. But the gut can either cushion that decline or make it worse. Certain microbes help recycle and balance hormones through what's known as the estrobolome. An imbalanced gut can lead to estrogen dominance or hormone irregularity, which affects fat storage, mood, and muscle maintenance. A well-supported gut helps preserve hormonal balance, supports lean muscle, and protects against metabolic slowdown. That's why individuals with healthier microbiomes often retain youthful vitality, better body composition, and higher motivation levels well into older age. So how do you take control? Start with your inputs. The microbes in your gut live off what you feed them. Prebiotic fibers from vegetables like onions, leeks, garlic, and artichokes feed the good bacteria. Resistant starches from cooled potatoes or green bananas nourish butyrate-producing microbes. Fermented foods like kimchi, kefir, and sauerkraut introduce beneficial strains directly. Avoid refined sugar, artificial sweeteners, and processed oils. They feed the wrong microbes. Incorporate time-restricted eating, giving your gut time to reset and repair. Move your body. Exercise promotes microbial diversity. Hydrate deeply. Sleep regularly. These aren't hacks, they are practices that train your biology to work with you instead of against you. The truth is, aging isn't the enemy. Accelerated aging is. And you can slow that process, sometimes even reverse parts of it, by turning your gut into an engine of vitality. Every meal, every night of sleep, every bout of movement is an opportunity to shape the microscopic world inside you. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Each choice you make either strengthens the systems that keep you youthful or weakens them. So if you want more energy, deeper sleep, sharper thinking, and more resilient health into your 50S, 60S, 70S, and beyond, it starts inside. It starts with your bacteria, because the future of aging well is microbial. And the power to change that future is already in your hands.